Hey everybody, welcome to Jen Lowry Writes. Today we are in our WWJ Fall Author Conference, and I am so honored and blessed to be able to introduce to you guys Diana Needham from Business Book Partners. Diana, thank you so much for joining the conference. This is not her first round with the WWJs. We have graciously extended this invitation to Diana just because she is such a wealth of knowledge and just beauty and grace. And we are so thankful that you said yes again and you've joined us here on the platform. Diana Needham is the CEO and founder of Business Book Partners in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Making magic happen since 2008, Business Book Partners provides book marketing, strategy, and self-publishing services to entrepreneurs, speakers, and business leaders who want to make a bigger impact, help more people, and leverage their book to expand their business. Having mentored 85, mostly first-time authors to secure their Amazon best-selling author title, she's here to share with you the insider secret. Sharing and promoting your book doesn't have to be uncomfortable or make us feel anxious. It can be authentic, joyful, in alignment, and allow you to make more sales. Can't wait to hear about this one, Diana.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me, Jen. It's always such a blessing and honor to be with you and with your community. And I know that for a lot of authors, when it comes to promoting, like we're really good about, we can write the book, we have a message, we have, God has given us a talent, a skill, like we've got this story, whatever it is we want to share, and we get it somehow to the finish line, and then we wake up and go, oh, I think I'm supposed to I think I'm supposed to be like promoting this book, and then we get a little bit anxious about it. So my prayer and hope in the time that we have together today is that you'll walk away with some tips that actually will help you, and when you think about actually promoting. So, is it okay, Jen? Can I just go ahead and get started?
Yes, you're on. Go right on.
All right. So, question, I just love for this to be fun and interactive. If you kind of feel like this when you think about promoting your book, it's like, oh my gosh, something I know that I should be doing, but I'm not sure how. And so I'm just going to put a bag on my head and kind of stay in the corner. If that's how you feel, like put it in the chat, because I think that this is pretty common. And maybe you're like this, right? It's like, well, I know that I should be promoting and I should be marketing my book, but I don't know. I don't know where to start. I don't know. I just don't know what to do. So maybe that's you. And so we're going to address that in the time that we have together. But before we actually kind of delve in here, I just want to say that there is no one size fits all formula for promoting your book. Now, we are all very different. We're writing different things. We have different audiences, and we have different amounts of time that we can actually spend and invest in promoting your book. So if you came to this session thinking, I'm going to walk away with a formula, I'm sorry to disappoint, because there isn't really a one size fits all, go do these 5 things. What I'm going to share with you today are some ideas. So what I would love for you to do is get out your journal and take some notes and just listen to the ideas that resonate, that like you like, okay, I get that. That makes sense to me. That feels right to me. Because if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel in alignment, if we're not called to do some of these things, we're not going to do it anyway, right? So just listen and be open to what you might be able to get out of this presentation. So there's just no one way for everybody. But when we think about promotion, that's a little bit different than marketing, right? Promotion is all about expanding awareness about our book and about our message and getting it in front of more people. And we have a goal of actually selling our book. So, it's for some of us, our book is our big mission and it's our big message, and maybe we are running a charity, but for most of us, we really want to make sales. So if the word promotion kind of makes you cringe a little bit or brings up some feeling of anxiety, what I want you to do is switch out that word promotion for the word sharing. Sharing and connecting. Sharing and connecting. So think about promotion as sharing and connecting with the people that you are here to help, to empower, to inspire, or if you're writing fiction, to entertain. It's about connecting and sharing. So I think sometimes that word promotion, it like doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel good for us. So think about it as connecting and sharing. But the real question is, how do I do this? Right? I mean, how do I do this with integrity, joy, and calm? How do I actually do that? So again, I'm going to encourage you, please get out your journal. And I really want you to think about this question. It all starts with being clear about who your audience is. Who is your audience? I want you to think about for those of you who have written multiple books, the last book that you wrote. Who did you write it for? Who is your audience? We cannot market or promote our book effectively unless we know who is it. So if you have written a book, for example, a children's book, the person that's buying the book is the parent. So what kind of parent? It's not enough to say, well, my book is it's for kids and any parent should buy it. No, probably it's a parent who believes in certain things or subscribes to certain philosophies or who has the same faith beliefs, because your book is written for children they're growing up in a faith-based home. Like, who is your audience? Like, get really clear. And I'm going to encourage you, write it out. Even if you think you know, what I've discovered is when we actually write it out, it gives us more ideas and it brings clarity. Is your audience a corporate professional? Is it somebody maybe in the job search mode, like the lady on the bottom left? Is it somebody that's reading for entertainment, like the lady on the right at the bottom? Like, she's reading, like she's got this story. She's like she's out, like she just wants to be, like, take me away to some faraway place. I just want to escape. I want to be entertained. Who is your audience? And I really want you to make yourself some notes, because here's what I've discovered by working with hundreds of authors. The clearer we can be about who our audience is, the easier this whole marketing and promoting our book becomes. And we want to write down who our audience is in great detail. It's not just moms. It's not just corporate professional women. It's corporate professional women who are struggling with what? Who are looking for what? That are looking for their next promotion. Like, what is it? Like, get really clear about who your audience actually is. So I created this chart, and I thought this might be kind of a helpful graphic for us to just grasp. So you'll notice this sort of looks like a skillet. So your book is in the middle, and you can see that your immediate circle, like the immediate people that are the people that would be most interested. So we just talked about who your audience is. Who would be the most interested? Those people are like drawn to your book. They love the topic. They're just actively looking for more books on this topic. They're going to Amazon. They're looking at the hot new releases on this in your genre, in your topic. They are the most interested. And when we start thinking about marketing and promoting our book, we're going to start there. Then in the aqua circle, you see people that are probably interested. They may not know your topic or what your book, they don't know anything, they don't know who you are, but there are common interests that you have or common connections, or you're in some of the same groups together. They're probably interested. They just don't know about your book. They don't know about you yet. So you can see that the circle starts relatively small and then it gets a little bit bigger. And then on the outside here, these are the people that may be interested, might be interested, but they're more removed, like they're further out on the circle. So when we start promoting and marketing our book, we're going to start with the people that are most interested. As we share more, as we get out there, as we talk to more people, because we know who they are, we just got to get in front of them, then our circle gets bigger. And at some point, our circle may get like this whole thing, like people that are even on the peripheral. They may be vaguely interested. They don't know who you are, but we have to start where we are and work our way out the circle, outside of the circle. So I thought that this might be a helpful graphic or depiction of how we need to think about marketing and promoting our book. We're going to start with the people most interested. As we get out there, the people that are probably interested, we're going to start attracting them, and then eventually we'll get the people that may be interested. They're further out. So now that we know kind of who it is, we got to figure out, where are they? Where are these people? Like, where are our ideal readers? So you can see how important it is to know exactly who we wrote the book for. Like, who is our audience? Who are the ideal people that this message is meant for, this story is meant for? Then we can move on to say, okay, where are they? And again, I'm going to ask you to jot down some ideas. If you wrote down who your ideal reader is, your ideal audience, underneath there, it's like, start writing out, where are they? Are they on social media? So when we say online, like, where are they on social media? What blogs are they reading? What YouTube channels are they watching? What podcasts are they listening to? Like, where are they online? Because marketing and promoting is about getting in front of them. Maybe they're people that go to conferences and events. So if you know, and now we're talking a little bit about offline, if you know that your audience, they go to conferences and events, then go find the conferences and events where these people are going to be. So if you've written a book about personal development, there's all sorts of personal development conferences and events. And if you show up there and you've got your book and you're, talking with people, and, you strike up a conversation, it's all about building relationships. Maybe they're at events. Maybe they're part of masterminds. So the top right picture here, they're part of masterminds, or they're part of groups. They're part of meetups. They're actually, like, they are plugged themselves in with other like-minded people. So, are those, are some of your audience, are they part of like masterminds and small groups, and part of, like, for me, I work with entrepreneurs, speakers, and business leaders. Some of my clients are in high-level masterminds of business coaches. Like, they're at a higher level. They're in a mastermind, the higher level of this business coach, because they're further along in their business, and writing a book might make perfect sense for them right now. So, one of my connections I continue to make are business coaches. People that they have a 12-month, a 6-month program, they have higher level masterminds. They're teaching people business. So at some point, those people may be thinking about, writing a book. They maybe want me to have me come in to speak and that sort of thing. If you're writing for kids, again, your audience is the parents. Kids aren't going to Amazon and buying books. At least mine didn't do that. So, where are the parents? What kind of parents? Where are they? If you're writing a book for kids, one of the places that you might want to look for groups of parents that homeschool by choice, not by demand or have to, right? The people that choose to homeschool their kids are highly interested in new materials and information for their kids. So that's just an idea. And again, I mean, where your people might be, think about hobbies. Like the picture here at the bottom is like someone that's running. Are they into hiking? Are they into rock climbing? Are they into specific things? And therefore, if you want to meet them and get in front of them, you need to find the groups that they're part of. So I would love to know, as you're like journaling and like writing down some notes, what's coming up for you, any new ideas that you're having about where your ideal readers are that maybe you haven't thought about yet. So this is why I wanted you to write some things down, because when we finish today, I want you to be able to actually go do something with this information. So I want to just kind of move into what I'm going to call the core of promotion, and then just write down ACT: attract, convert, transform, right? When we are marketing and promoting our book, we first have to attract our ideal readers. And then once we have their attention, we want to deepen the relationship and make the sale. That's kind of where convert is. And then transform is about spreading the word, like expanding that circle that we just talked about so that it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. So let me just kind of walk you through some ideas. And I'm going to use this book called The Sudden Caregiver as an example. The very first thing, and I know everybody here knows this, and I'm so excited because we have a speaker that's going to be talking about cover. Your cover has to speak to your audience. So again, you can see it just goes back to, you got to know your audience, because the first thing people see is the cover. We only have 6 seconds to get their attention. So if our cover somehow is off or doesn't quite hit the mark, people are going to move on. We are very visual, and as much as we want to think that people don't judge a book by its cover, we really do. We all do. So you're a professional cover. If you're having some challenges with getting the right eyeballs on your book, this is one place that you might want to like look at it again, and maybe even ask a few trusted readers, and maybe there's a slight change or something that you want to do with the cover. So the first impression, right, the very first thing people see is the cover. Then most people will turn the book over, right? And then they start reading what's on the back. So our back, copy, the words that are on the back cover need to speak to them. So when we turn it over, if we just know this is about the sudden caregiver, a roadmap for resilient caregiver, I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean, right? The sudden caregiver. Well, if you read this, you'll find out that her book is written from her experience when her husband was suddenly diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And she became the sudden caregiver. and that she has discovered what she calls the roadmap for how to take care of yourself on this journey, right? But you don't know that unless you turn it over and this back cover copy speaks to you. We also want to have an endorsement. So you'll notice here that she has an endorsement from a PhD, someone who is the president of the International Positive Psychology Association. That is a credibility piece. You want that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have an endorsement from somebody at that level, but you want to have an endorsement on the back that's social proof of the value of the book. So I hope this is helpful to kind of see an example. Another way that you can attract is pitch your story. Pitch your story to local print publications, local news, and podcast host, right? But you're not pitching your book. I want to be really clear about that. You're not pitching your book, you're pitching your story. So if you have questions about that, please put them in the chat, because I know hopefully we're going to have a few minutes for Q&A at the end. But finding the right podcast that have your audience. We're not just being a podcast guest for the sake of being a guest. Like, we want to find the right podcast, pitching your story to the local news. So local news and local print publications, one of the things we can do here is figure out how we can tie our story or the story in the book to something that's happening in the news. So that is a key way of having people pay attention. So like, I'm going back to the Sudden Caregiver. We actually launched this book February 16th of this year, which happened to be National Caregivers Week. So this author was able to get on TV shows. She was able to get radio, and like everybody, I mean, people knew it was National Caregiver Week. So she tied a lot of the PR, and that's the reason we moved the launch date, actually, to be honest. Like, we were going to launch in November, and she engaged a publicist who said, really, we need to move this into next year and tie it to here, because we can get you all of this exposure if we do that. So again, I'm still on first impression here, media releases, like press releases. And here's my client, Nancy Paul. Kind of an interesting story. She was one of my early clients, and she wrote a book called The Little Book About Scholarships. And it was all about how parents can find merit scholarships for their high schoolers. And it was born out of the fact that she woke up one day and realized that they had 3 daughters that were all going to be going to college at the same time. So financially, it was like, oh boy, I mean, we better start figuring out how we can get some scholarships or get some financial assistance here with 3 daughters all going to school at the same time. And so she got some information from the guidance counselor, and it was just like, go do some research and you'll figure it out. Well, 300 hours later, she had actually figured out what you need to do to go find merit scholarships that don't have to be repaid. Merit scholarships, and I wish I'd have known this when my kids went to college. Merit scholarships are based on the merit of the student. And so some of you may know that. It was new news to me. So how do you work with your high schooler as early as freshman year to make sure that they are well-rounded, that they have leadership roles, that they've given back to the community, that they've done other things over and above their academic scores? So anyway, she wrote this book, and we launched the book, and it's a really small book. And about 2 weeks later, she said, you know what? I am going to offer this boot camp. It's a Saturday, and I'm going to invite parents, and I'm going to show them how to actually go research merit scholarships and how to find money that doesn't have to be paid back. And I said, so Nancy, I know that this is really short notice, but we should put out a press release. We'd already put out a press release announcing her bestseller designation. But I said, Nancy, let's put something together really quickly to announce this boot camp that you're doing. And it's not going to get you more people into your boot camp, but let's just put it out there, like as an announcement. All right. And you can see the headlines. Scholarship strategist Nancy Paul announces first Find Scholarships Now boot camp, right? This was her very first one. I can remember this like it was yesterday. I was in Target and Nancy is calling me. And I'm like, oh, your first thought is, oh boy, did something kind of go sideways or, and she said, you are not going to believe what just happened. I said, I'm sure you're going to tell me. She goes, I just got a call from a TV station in Birmingham, Alabama, that wants me to come on because they are doing a series about how parents can fund college for their students. And you know how they found me? The press release about the boot camp. Somehow the reporter that was looking for somebody that could talk about scholarships for their students in Alabama found the press release that then led them to her website, that then led them to knowing that she had a book, that then they said, oh, she is the person for us to call. So the real life example of like press releases, you put them out, you don't know where they're going to go. Reporters are searching for experts. This says scholarship strategist. They found her. She was on, it was a Skype, it was something that was done on Skype, and she was so excited. Another way that you can attract is promotional materials. So you probably, most of you here, you have swag, you have bookmarks, you have, other things that you give away. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I can show it to you maybe after I stop sharing my screen, but this is something that Karen Warner sent out. That was her invitation to her book launch party. And it's a very well done card that she sent me in the mail. So having promotional materials, you never know when you're going to meet somebody and you're going to strike up a conversation at the grocery store or like anywhere. And if you have something that you can just pull out of your purse or have with you to say, this is some information about my book. I'd love to talk to you more about it. And it's not like buy my book, but if you have something on you that you can share with them, that's really, really powerful. And of course, you can advertise. That involves money. And probably most people here have also done some sort of giveaway. So that's kind of about the first impression. So now that we've got their attention, we want to convert them, meaning we want them to actually purchase the book if it's the right book for them. And some ways we can do that, obviously, is having a promotional price. So running a special price for a specific period of time. And, one of the ways that you can do this is actually plan out your promotional calendar. Like, as we're talking right here, it's August. How many of you have a promotional calendar for your book from now to the end of the year? If you do, I'd love to know, like put it in the chat, have you thought about, does your book lend itself to back to school? Does it lend itself, more towards the holidays? Is it something, when are your readers thinking about or looking for your book? Put together some promotional timing and special pricing that you offer at certain times of the year when you know that they are looking for it. Another tip here too is There are literally holidays for everything, like National Pizza Day, and there's all sorts of holidays. Go just look at the holidays that are coming up, even the really obscure ones that you've never heard of before. Is there a way to tie your book to that? So promotional pricing, website links, like you want to make it really easy. Click, just give people the link and let them go buy your book. And of course, direct sales, meaning you have got your book with you, you're speaking somewhere, you can actually like give it to them and they're going to hand you some cash or their credit card. Bookstore events, you know, during the period of time that we've been in recently, probably not very many people have actually done live book events inside of bookstores right now, but I have clients who have done live book signings in the last 45 days, like not at a bookstore, but at a venue. So they rented a space, they invited their supporters, and they had a book signing. And the last one I went to was actually paid. So you bought a ticket, and when you came, you got an autographed copy of the book, and she had a beautiful lunch, and it was catered, and it was super, super awesome. Anytime that you're speaking, make sure that you have your book available, and also sponsorships and events. So if your ideal reader, your ideal person that you wrote this book for is at an event, see if the host of the event is actually offering any sort of sponsorships. Back in May, I sponsored at a 3-day virtual event, again, with one of those higher business coaches that have a big audience, and she has a 12-month program. She had me come in and talk about the book stuff, and I offered a low price workshop, and then I got clients from that. So, and then now it's time to spread the word, like transform. This is all about getting the word out. So most of you probably have had a launch team in the past, like when you're launching a new book, you have a launch team, you have people that are supporting you and getting the word out. We always want to be asking for reviews. Amazon loves fresh reviews because it shows them that there's interest in the book, there's fresh audience, there's fresh eyes actually buying the book. And if your book has ever won any sort of award, that is something else that you can showcase. Now on social media, you can share endorsements and praise. So the way that most of us would do this is to use what I'm calling a humble brag. So we're expressing gratitude. And Jen, I mean, you are just like the queen of this, is like, you know, when something great has happened for you, for one of your books, for some, like you are just, you're so humble about it. You know, you're so grateful, and you're like, that's the spirit that we want to do this. It's not buy my book, like, this is genuine from the heart, expressing gratitude. People are attracted to that. Now, here's just an example. This is a post that I made on Facebook about a week or so ago. And you can share photos, memories, celebrations, news, success stories. So if some of you here are in the Raleigh area, you might know who Sharon Hill is. Sharon wrote a book called Leading from the Lectern, which is actually etiquette for Toastmasters. And Sharon was running for an international Toastmaster office back in 2016, August of 2016. And she wrote this book, and we published this book, and it was her gift to the 300 voting delegates at the Toastmaster International Convention. She is here local. I have not seen her since all of this stuff, all this craziness started. We met for lunch. We got a picture, and look, see, I'm celebrating her. But it also is a signal to let people know the kind of clients that I work with. And I would encourage you to think about sharing in this way for sure. So as I said at the beginning, early, select the activities that are doable and fun for you, because you were not given this big message, your talents and your gifts, to share, to hide them under a bushel, my friends. I know you know that, but sometimes we just need to be reminded. Share the things that are doable and fun. Just get out and think about it as sharing and connecting. So I have a special gift that I put together talking with Jen about what might be helpful for you. And I've actually put together a guide for finding the right speaking engagements, because here's a secret: leveraging other people's audiences is going to be the fastest way for you to get the word out about your book. So people that already have your audience, they host events, they are podcast hosts, they have their own Facebook groups. I have put together a guide that I wanted to gift to you for how to find the right speaking engagements and how to actually get yourself out there by speaking. So I will drop the link in the chat here. In just a minute. And if you're here and you're writing a nonfiction book to expand your business or get your big message out, there's a big mission behind it. If you're looking for an entrepreneur author community, go over and check out our group called Build Your Business with a Book. Alliteration on the B's, Build Your Business with a Book. We'd love to have you come join. So I hope this has been helpful, and I'm excited to hear what you wrote down in your journal, what ideas came to you in whatever time we have left. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Diana. I know that I have taken pages of notes. And especially when you got to the point about how do you do this with integrity, joy, and calm, I wrote that statement down just to remind myself that we are doing this for those three purposes too. And I was taking homeschool families and thinking about my educator's guide, and it's constantly flooded with ideas. I'm texting one of my author friends going, hey, a boot camp for you, and hey, this and that. I'm like, tell me to stop, because that's what happens, Diana, when you start to speak. Like, the ideas just keep rolling and flowing. And a part of this about growing within our community is also to be able to brainstorm and collaborate and share. So I want to go back and share a lot. The chat has just been fired up. You guys continue to keep it going. But we've had such a ton of comments in the chat. The first ones were, yes, you nailed it with the bag over the head or the question marks, or like, especially like sharing on personal pages instead of like your author pages. Like, it can kind of feel like that when you're putting it out personal. Do you have any words of encouragement when people are sharing and connecting, that it doesn't necessarily have to always go to a landing page on an author site, but to also share it out personal?
Yeah, well, the example that I just showed you with Sharon Hill is on my personal page. Unless you're spending money with Facebook, not much is happening on your business page. And then I got shared on her page, obviously, because I tagged her, and then her people were commenting. Some of her people are my audience. She is very well known at Toastmasters. And if you're a Toastmaster and you're serious about speaking and you don't have a book, right? They know I worked with Sharon. I think a lot of people were honestly surprised about that, because they didn't even know that she and I were connected. She used to run NABO in Raleigh. So she is very well known and very well connected. So I would just say, come at it from, like, I was praising her. This was not about, look at me, it was about, she is a powerhouse, and she just it was about her. So when we can make it about somebody else and showcasing somebody else, that makes a big difference.
I love that too. And because that simple power of sharing just continues to broaden and expand the reach. And it's in an authentic way. And so then people know Diana and people know her, and then it just continues to build and grow in that way. So when we say 1 Thessalonians 5:11 challenge, that's what we do in the WWJs. That was our challenge just for this week, Diana, and that's our guiding Bible verse for this conference, is that to build one another up, to encourage one another and build one another up. And one of those ways to do is to really help, promote. I loved how you changed the words, and so did our audience, to say, instead of just saying to help promote others, sharing and connecting with others and being able to reciprocate that, because one day your book's going to be coming out and you'll be hoping that they will return the favor. So that one to me, yeah, Pooja loved it as well. She loved the sharing and connecting. It resonated with Luke about how to identify your audience.
Yeah, that is so important. And I think, as I work with my private clients, that's sometimes it's one of their challenges, because they think they're writing the book for everybody. It's for any parent, it's for any, baby boomer woman. Okay, baby boomer woman, what? Like, baby boomer woman, that's what? Empty nester. She's lonely. She's looking for promotion. Like what? Here's the thing. We know this woman. We know we know who it is. We just haven't written down in as much detail as possible. If you just delve down and you can say, oh, I wonder what else they're reading. I wonder what podcast they're listening to. Ding, 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 ding. If they're listening to those podcasts, those are the ones you should be targeting. So it's all kind of interconnected. The more we know about that ideal reader, the easier this becomes. And so we get a little bit of traction, and then it begets more traction, and then we get more traction, and like all of a sudden our circle that started out like tiny little thing, like it's like this. And it's amazing.
And Tish commented that it's amazing how the words you can use can change your attitude. So now having no fear in sharing and connecting. So I find that that is a powerful statement what we can take away from you today, Diana. We've had, let's see, I'm going all through it. We've had so many. I told you about mine with the homeschool guide and all of that first. I got to get that together. I was encouraging people to take notes in their journal. Let's see. I'm scrolling. People are still encouraging to go out and look within their neighborhoods, book clubs, community colleges. And then Ruth is right along within her age group, so she can use her own experience for ideas about how to reach out to other teens. And so just making your list.
Yeah, the power of just writing it down. And that's why I was encouraging you to write things down as they come to you, because when we close out of here, the thoughts, like, they come and go. Like, I don't know about you guys, maybe you can carry them around in your head, but I can't. So I got to write things down. So if you've got it all in a journal, or you've got it all written somewhere, you can come back to that and go, okay, well, it's time for me to think about my promotional calendar, for example, from now to the end of the year. It's time for me to think about that. What did she say about that again?
Right. And Ruth had a question. In writing fiction, should you have an endorsement, and how do you get that?
Well, yes, of course. It's a great question, Ruth. And, and this is what, for most of us, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but we have beta readers, right? So when you're writing your book, when you get it to a place where you're comfortable sharing it with people, you get feedback from people that you trust. And so where I would start writing fiction is like with my beta readers. What can they give you a little blurb? Can they give you a little comment? Can they give you a powerful story that enables kids to, or I don't know what you're writing about, right? Get something that you can put on the back cover, and over time you'll gather more. You might gather them from your Amazon book reviews. You gather more, and you can just grow from there. But yeah, I would ask for an endorsement, because without somebody saying there's value in the book, people don't know what they're buying.
And go ahead.
They need social proof. of the value of the book.
And we have Peter Fenton in the chat. He is the author of Abandon All Hope. And Peter and I connected, and I'm so very thankful to know him. And I reached out to him, Ruth, and we've shared our books with each other. And he wrote an endorsement for my fiction book that's getting ready to come out. So that gives an opportunity for me to then blast it out and put it in for my reviews. So asking for endorsements, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, your author community can help you out as well. So you can seek out your beta readers, your ARC readers. You can give them early reviews of your copies of your book, but you also can reach out to your community, the people that you're building alongside of you to be your partners in all of this. So writer DeRosier said, promotional calendar from now to the rest of the year. Note to self, go ahead and make my promotional calendar. And I'm like right at you, right back at you. So she's going to be releasing her book on September the 12th, which is Happy Harper, Grandpa Comes Home. And she said, what are some suggestions that you might have for promotions that are tied back to holidays? And that's our last question for today, because we are at 4:45 and we're going to transition. So one last tip for us before we sign out.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what her topic is, but if you think that your book would be a great gift, tie it back to the holidays. Say, looking for, an exciting read, or looking for that special gift for someone who's, blah, 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 someone who's got everything or whatever. Like, tie it back to the holidays. And Jen, can you make sure that the link to the gift is actually, you got it? Okay, awesome. Yep. Yeah, so lots of different ways you can do that. There's all sorts of holidays. There's a Grandparents' Day was actually in September. It's coming up in September.
That's it.
There you go.
Yep, that's her book. It's for Grandparents' Day. It's to honor.
I want to say it's like September 10th or 12th or somewhere. Yeah, it's around there. Like, so can you do, even if the book's not going to be out yet, can you do some early pre-sale? Can you do some coming soon? Can you start gathering email addresses and let people know? Like, there's all sorts of things that you could do for that.
All right. Thank you so much, Diana. I want to say such heartfelt love to you. I am just so thankful to have you in my life. People were giving such shout outs to you about Diana is the best. We have Dee here, and she's shouting me from the rooftops. So I just want to let you guys know how grateful we are to have you in the chat with us, joining us. And Diana, it couldn't be possible without presenters like you signing on and coming on here to share your wealth of knowledge. And you had us rolling the whole time. So I really appreciate that. So guys, thank y'all so much for joining us. Everybody is thanking you. And y'all stay tuned. Y'all jump back in at 5 o'clock, because that's when we have our keynote speaker, self-publishing with Dale. Dale Roberts is going to be here, and you do not want to miss it. So thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to hear what Dale has to say.
I know. All right. Bye, guys.